Let's talk about how to succeed in AP English literature. So, first, when you are writing essays, one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that you have a limited time to be able to read the text and a limited time to be able to prepare a coherent essay. So, here's a formula I think will work for you. It is called CEA. CEA, okay? The first, when you are writing your essay, you want to provide context. This is something that I see in a lot of essays that's missing. So what do we mean by context? First, the context is something that you want to set usually at the beginning of your essay or at least in the beginning of the paragraph so that the reader understands the background and the specific elements of the piece that you are reading, like the time period, the setting, or the key themes that are relevant and connect to your thesis. So, what I mean by this specifically is you want to discuss the author, anything you know about them that's relevant to your theme and thesis, the historical period of the work, that's going to be important as well as any pertinent social or political factors and how those elements might influence the themes or the characters in connection with your thesis. So always provide context. Assume that the reader doesn't have or understand the specific elements of that essay so that they can grasp your thesis with much more clarity and depth. Now, the E, evidence. The purpose of evidence is so crucial to your thesis statement for your AP essay. You would definitely not want to write an essay without any evidence. However, what I have seen in a lot of students' work is that they will take a quote and they just insert it in the essay and it's kind of just isolated. It's floating there, but it doesn't have any connection to the thesis. It's just kind of there. So in AP literature essays, the direct quotations that you take from the text or the specific events that you're referring to or the descriptions, whatever that is, you need to not just select the evidence. That's the first step. And that's what most students do. They select the evidence, but what they don't do is they don't explain how the evidence directly relates back to the thesis and the argument. So every single piece of evidence that you use in your AP essay, and it doesn't have to be heavy-handed, but each piece of evidence needs to connect back to your overall argument and not just be presented without any kind of commentary. That's typically what does happen though. So you want to kind of clean that up a little bit. Now, so we've got context, evidence, and now the analysis, the CEA. The analysis piece is where you delve into how and why the evidence supports your thesis. This is the heart of the essay. So the context is super important, the evidence is super important, but the analysis is where you can take your AP score from a 2 to a 3 or a 3 to a 4 or a 4 to a 5. That analysis piece is really the heart. It's where your critical thinking and analysis and knowledge is on display. So you want to have high quality interpretations and insight into the text demonstrated within your essay. So how do you do this? Well, how you do this is with the pieces of evidence that you provide, you should always be following up on those evidences to explain the significance of the evidence in relation to your thesis. Discuss the implications of what happened. What was the result? What was the implication? What occurred as a result of this event happening? What about the meaning? What does this piece of evidence convey about the author or the time period or how they felt? And are there any inherent contradictions in the evidence? And also, what about literary techniques? The literary techniques are probably something that you learn about in class, such as juxtaposition and, what's the word I'm looking for? Alliteration, those kinds of things. So you probably learn about those literary techniques in class and how authors use these elements to create different effects within the text. So for example, using a lot of consonants like the letter C may make the poem or the text feel kind of crinkly or percussive and things like that. Those are things that you want to make note of. So what I'm saying is that when you are looking at and analyzing the evidence, consider how the piece of evidence sounds. Okay? Consider how the piece of evidence connects back to your thesis, and consider how this piece of evidence connects back to the broader historical period or themes within the specific argument that you are trying to create. So hope that helps. CEA. And if you are looking for tutoring, visit turningthetidetutoring.com and we'll be happy to set you up. Thank you. Bye.